people packing crates behind her and underscoring the message we have seen from this convention from every major speaker, starting with Michelle Obama on Monday night. Go out and vote. That text message 30330, a silver Kamala Harris. Right, they want to go to Mary Bruce is in Wilmington, right outside the Chase Center, where Kamala Harris just
going to see something that we've never seen before: a black woman and the first Asian American ever to accept a party's nomination to be vice president. And tonight, Kamala Harris is going to tell her story, how the daughter of immigrants, Jamaican and Indian immigrants, went on to break so many barriers. And she is going to outline her vision for the country that made her story possible. She'll describe an America where all people feel welcome, where Americans look out for each other. And she will say that that vision feels distant now under President Trump. And she will argue that Joe Biden is a leader who can bring that America back. George.
Mary Bruce, thanks very much. World News Tonight anchor David Muir is here as well. And we've seen a lot of different Kamala Harrises over the last couple of years. She can go before a crowd of 20,000. We've seen her at congressional hearings with tough questions in a kind of prosecutorial style. This was a little more conversational, but very pointed.
Very pointed. It's sort of like what we see right before a debate when they're all backstage and you get to run into some of the candidates. Kamala Harris backstage tonight, and maybe it's part of the strategy of like loosening up the nerves before her history-making speech tonight. But as you said, there is strategy in what she just said. That is on the news. It's what we've been talking about on the news for several days now. The U.S. Postal Service worries about mail-in voting in this country.
Okay, everybody. So Glenn will be on in just a second. It's my fault. I did not send the link out. So just so you know, I got my bingo board ready. And already, Kamala Harris has already dropped a couple of ones right off the break. We got text 30330. So I'm going to go ahead and put an X on that one. Let me go through my different boards. It's not on this one. All right. It's on that one. So I'm going to find out which one Glenn wants to do. But I've already got my board. Got an X on it already. Text. As you can see, text 330. All right. Mail-in ballots. Let's see if I have that on here anywhere. Repressing the vote. I knew they were going to gum on this one. I knew that was going to be a punchline tonight. We'll see what else they say. But, you know, of course, trying to keep people from voting is somehow their push. We won't be debating much tonight, so it's going to be more of a fun show. Let's see what they say.
She basically gave voters who support the Biden-Harris ticket a blueprint, a number to call. They're going to help you come up with a plan for voting. And this is something she's been saying over the last couple of days. She just said it again. When we vote, things change, things get better. Later tonight, she'll make the case not only for herself, reintroducing herself, George, but she'll make the case for Joe Biden.
And Lindsay Davis, we are going to hear the personal story tonight. As Mary Bruce just said, history will be made when she accepts that nomination.
You're right. You know, I think that it's very possible that President Obama could steal the show tonight, but this is really ladies' night. Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris. You know, I think that Hillary Clinton has said in the past that the hardest, highest glass ceiling for a woman is the White House. And in her 2016 concession speech, she expressed regret that she wasn't the one who was able to shatter it. I think that likely from her tonight, we're going to see kind of a passing of the torch and kind of vouching for Kamala that she's the one who's capable of shattering it. And from Kamala's perspective,
you know, I wish we spent half as much time trying to find the right candidates as we do trying to blast ceilings.
You know, when she was on the campaign trail, she would often talk about how her mom
it's delicious,
would say,
Nikki.
Never let somebody else tell you who you are. You tell them. I think tonight she's going to tell us.
Lindsay Davis, thanks very much. I want to bring in Rahm Emanuel. Will Barack Obama steal the show is one of the questions right there. For you worked for him as chief of staff in the White House. And one of the things we've seen some excerpts from his speech already, but you saw at that John Lewis funeral a couple of weeks ago, a much tougher, much more outspoken Barack Obama than we've seen before.
Yeah, well, first of all, to the first part of the question, I actually think it's interesting they haven't done any excerpts from Kamala's speech. Right. That's from President Obama's speech. So I wouldn't say the air is out, but they're telegraphing. I also think the two are going to be actually quite complementary in this sense. It's going to be a double barrel. One from somebody who worked alongside, saw a person in an intimate way, and another person who's been selected. I think she's achieved already the 5 goals. She's made history. She's excited the base, reassured swing voters, has riled up Trump, and has drawn fire away from Biden and returned fire for Biden. So she's already accomplished what a vice president can do. I think the president has been holding back.
First of all, that's nonsense. Biden saw a very small bump from Kamala Harris. She has not energized the base much at all. So Trump is actually closing the gap at a time where Biden should be pulling away for the next couple of weeks, and then after the Republican convention, it should even back out. But that's historically how it's gone.
Todd, he believes what President George Bush 43. You don't say anything about your successor. He didn't do it about his predecessor. But he has, let's just say this, a lot on his plate, chest that he wants to get off.
No question.
Now, there will be a line. And the one thing that Democrats have to do is we think the president has made a mess of things. And his style is a mess. They have got to relate that style to your life and why your life's a mess now. Just the mess is not good enough. It's a mess in your life.
Chris Christie, we've already seen a pre-buttal.
This is supposed to be the news. Notice he just said we. We think that. Something to consider.
From President Trump at the White House. He went to the podium around 5:30, 5:45 this afternoon and said he wouldn't have even run for president, probably, he added, if Barack Obama hadn't been a failure.
Yeah, listen, that has been his theme all along. He started out really with Mitt Romney in the race in 12. And you remember his reaction after Romney lost and was very visceral. And he thought that was a winnable race and that Romney should have won it. So that's definitely his view of it. And he got out there today. And, as we talked about on Monday, George, he was going to be a presence every day this week himself, because that's what he does. He's his own communications director, his own chief strategist, and the president. And so that's what he's doing. I don't know that it's been all that effective. I still think that it's going to be interesting to see tonight what he does after it's over. But I am not the least bit surprised that that's what he's doing, and that's what he did today. He doesn't like Barack Obama, and I'll tell you why. It goes all the way back to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That White House Correspondents' Dinner is what turned all of it around for Donald Trump. He was very angry that night and in the aftermath, and he has not forgiven Barack Obama for that yet. And it's part of what drives what he's doing today.
I think you and I were at the same table that night. He was one table over, and you could see it on his face from. I've
never seen him that visibly angry when he wasn't speaking himself. But to have him take that in that night, he was so visibly angry. He didn't chuckle once at some of the things that were funny. And I think that in the end, he's still not forgiven Obama, and part of his anger is driven by that.
Yvette Simpson, Kamala Harris, not always a favorite of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, but talk about what it means to see a woman of color up there accepting the vice presidential nomination for the first time.
It means everything. It means everything. I got to tell you that in my circles of Black women, people were more excited than I've seen in a long time. And there was a huge effort on the part of a lot of activists, leaders, Black women. I was one of them, to make sure that a Black woman was on this ticket. And they feel really satisfied by that. And I think what that's doing and what that's going to do for this ticket is you're going to bring back the organizers and the mobilizers. I always say Black women bring a whole community with them, right? We bring our family members, we bring our churches, we bring our community, we bring them with us. And he's gonna have the benefit of that. And I think that's really exciting. And I will say the progressives are excited for this reason. We do believe in representative democracy. We do believe in diversity. Everybody talks about the squad because they're progressive. We like it. They're diverse women. And so we're really excited about what we're going to hear. We also have talked to her. We've worked with her before. We love the fact that Joe Biden knows that she's going to give him an earful. And we expect to be at that table making sure that she hears from us.
He promised she would be the last person in the room, as he was the last person in the room for Barack Obama. One other question, though, on that. The president made a point of interviewing Gretchen Whitmer, talking to Elizabeth Warren. But do you think this pick was kind of baked in the cake from the start?
I think that's to compliment him. He needed someone who could take it to Trump. And she...
What up, Glenn? Welcome.
What's going on, brother?
I already told the feed it was my fault.
All right, cool. I was like, don't be blaming this on me.
Nah. He wasn't late because he was black. He was late because the white guy ain't give him the right shit.
You see how that works? He didn't Antifa me.
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
He took
Not
the blame. He took the blame. He took the blame. Good stuff.
You gotta stand up. So what you did miss was Kamala came on, or Kamala came on, and she already hit a couple of the spots. So, and after these talking heads get through their piece, whenever we go into a speech, we'll get back onto the Yahtzee board, which hopefully it'll. So I'll go back and give you the. Let me see.
And she got some of them already.
Yeah, she hit the text 33 at 33. she got that one.
Terrible.
And I made 4 now so that you could take 2 and I could take 2. So I wasn't sure which one you wanted.
I'll take the which one did you take? I'll take the top one if you want.
Okay,
or
the top
bottom
one. Which one is in the top left hand corner? What is the B1 block for that one?
Black/brown communities
Okay.
or people
Gotcha.
in parentheses.
All right, so yeah, that one's already got 1 check mark.
Okay. The one that's right next to it is calls Trump a liar.
Oh shoot, I might have moved the thing.
Yeah, because one of them, the other one is called someone a liar.
Dang, because I mixed some of the things up just to make it different.
Okay. So I can go with the bottom one then.
Yeah, go with the bottom one. I won't even know what that one is, but I'll just use.
Yeah, so it's got black and brown communities in the upper left corner, and then right next to it.
Right, I got that one. That calls Trump a liar. Right.
Well, the one I'm gonna go with the bottom one, which is called someone a liar.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want me to go with, I can. Yeah, I'll just do that. I'll go with calls Trump a liar. I'd rather go with that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I put a bunch of different wins in here, so these are definitely like not every board has all the same, and then the ones that are, I try to just mix them around. So it was actually fun today, kind of going through and just going through the different things that you could fail to act. You know, the thing.
Come on, man.
I know. And I took come on. I saw you got come on, man, on that one. I think I got it on too. Yeah. Oh, I got that on all 4 of them. So that's on all of them. So
choice will decide America for a long time. They didn't hit that one yet?
No. Well, we might even have to go back and watch Kamala's intro again. It was pretty short. But it would be funny now that you're here to look it over. And I want to say, let me see if I can find it here. Let me see, because she came.
President Barack Obama.
I thought it was it right after this, dude? Or right before this, dude? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
0, a sober Kamala Harris. Right, they want to go to Mary Bruce.
He's his own community.
Oh, no.
Democratic
Tag going
and President Barack Obama, the legacy, because recently
it came up here a second ago, and then it here it goes. All right.
You've also heard about obstacles and misinformation and folks making it.
Should have went with misinformation.
Cast your ballot. So I think ask ourselves, why don't?
Here you go. It'll come up right here.
I got allegiance to the flag.
Which I thought it was neat. They started with this.
One nation,
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hoorah! Here we go. Get your board out.
It's me, Kamala. So before I go on stage later tonight, I want to talk about the importance of voting. I know many of you plan to vote this year, but amidst the excitement and enthusiasm for this election, you've also heard about obstacles and misinformation and folks making it harder for you to cast your ballot. So I think we need to ask ourselves, why don't they want us to vote? Why is there so much effort to silence our voices? And the answer is because when we vote, things change. When we vote, things get better. When we vote, We address the need for all people to be treated with dignity and respect in our country. So each of us needs a plan, a voting plan. Joe and I want to make sure you're prepared. If you text VOTE to 30330, we'll help you come up with your plan.
Got a spot.
Remember deadlines and get ready to vote in your community. So send that text and encourage your family and friends to send one too. Now let's enjoy another night of inspiration from around our country. I'll see you a little later tonight, and until then, I turn it over to my dear friend and tonight's moderator, Kerry Washington.
Never seen a
So what stinks is your board, you've already got 2 in a row on one of your boards.
Yeah.
Because it was next to the bingo free space.
What can I say? I'm a winner. You know.
Can protect our families, our future. We can vote. We can be on the right side of history.
I should have put right side of history. I can't believe I didn't do that one.
Yeah, you should have did voting equals things get better.
Join us.
Or voting means things get better. That's what Zachary Rourke said in the comments.
Yeah, I didn't want to put vote because that's too simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she said it like a million times already.
Words matter. That would have been a good one.
In the last couple of years, we've seen
Blank matters.
more movement over gun control.
Well, that's way too easy.
Right?
Tonight is striking. We all remember that difficult Saturday in January of 2011 when she was shot. One of 13 people injured that day, 6 people died that day, and you see her now fighting to regain normalcy in her life, but showing a lot of grit. Sadly, George, the kind of mass shooting that we saw that day is now much more prevalent. So far this year.
Is it? Has it been much more prevalent?
I mean, it's
Give me the last
like
one you remember off the top of your head.
I mean, there's been probably one a year, some bigger than others, some getting more media coverage than others, but there definitely has been, I would say, a mass shooting a year in our country.
It's either been lower or the media's coverage of it has been less. One of the two's got to be true, because I can name a bunch when you talk about the dude in the school shootings and that kind. Now, granted, we haven't been in school for the last 6 months, but
well, Columbine, believe it or not, is like 20-some years old.
But yeah, Columbine was a long time ago. But the shooting in Maryland, where the guy ended up shooting the person with the gun.
That happened. And then Maryland actually had, the mall shooting, and then Maryland had the Capitol newspaper.
His son Anthony was in the Washington or
it was the Capitol.
Yeah,
the Capitol
when that happened, he got interviewed that.
And I remember.
Yeah, and then you had the movie theater shooting, dude. You had the Vegas shooting. The
Orlando shooting. The Pulse nightclub.
You had Virginia Tech. So it just seems like it's been a lot. I'll be back. I gotta grab something real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably say not for sure. I mean, it's been proven. There's definitely been a shooting a year. I don't know if there's been more than that, but there probably has been. But for sure, guys, the media coverage on this stuff really dictates whether or not you remember it, because, Columbine was such a big thing, and that was 21 years ago. I remember that like it was yesterday. Also, the trench coat mafia. I think that kind of I'll never forget that. This whole trench coat mafia walking around with trench coats and big, tall black Doc Marten boots and looking all extra militant / goth. That sticks out in my head a lot as well.
For sure.
We got some comments coming in as well too, guys, which is pretty cool. Elizabeth Warren was the keynote speaker. At
the Native American,
at the Naive American Caucus. Yeah.
All right, let's see what this lady has to say.
The choice is Joe Biden. Thank you, America.
Well, how was that?
Nice.
Rising to the challenge. The American way. Going to the moon
was all three. Many astronauts returned home and reported a shift in their awareness. The view they saw of Earth from space.
Good thing we had all those Nazis in NSA so we could get to the moon, huh?
Right.
But we won't talk about that. Profound. The world looked beautiful, tiny, fragile. Our atmosphere is all that separates us from oblivion. We now call what they experienced the overview effect.
Here in Detroit, our communities for such a long time have faced the burden of pollution. I think addressing climate.
All right, look. Are we really going to talk about climate change in Detroit? Can we talk about murder? That's the only place Detroit looks nice from is the moon. All right, I'm going to let him speak.
Change gives us an opportunity to correct some of those wrongs and to also invest in our vulnerable communities.
Maybe you've read some of the millions of pages of scientific evidence on climate change. Storm, sir. Or maybe you felt it as you walked the neighborhood.
Oh my God, the truck is sinking.
For most people, it's overwhelming.
All of this with the global warming and that a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
I had spent 5 years working on this report. The Trump administration started to remove any mention that humans were the cause of climate change from it.
I wrote my resignation letter just 6 months into the administration. They were handing the keys of public lands over to private interests. The Trump administration has gone all out, not just to neglect climate change issues and laws, but to reverse them.
We have about a decade before it's too late.
I'm a kid, and I'm going to say to all those adults who are watching this right now, why don't you get up and do something?
Some of the first climate change legislation ever written was by a senator from Delaware.
When Donald Trump thinks about climate change, the only word he can muster is hoax.
America faces a challenge, but if we face it together, we will rise to the occasion and build back better.
When I think about climate change,
whoa, hold on.
Pause.
Oh, where's the pause button? Oh yeah, baby, got me a build back better, baby. Make sure I got. Oh no, you do. Damn it.
Yo, I got it.
Yeah, you got it. Gives you two in a row in a different way. Hold on.
Build back better. Yeah, two in a row in a different.
Fuck.
I know.
That on. Hold on.
I was looking. I was like, "Where is it at?"
Oh, good. I got it on one of mine. Here we go. Build back better, baby. All righty. Let's keep it going.
Jobs, many of them union, like mine. Invest in critical infrastructure. Upgrade millions of buildings. Invest in micro-mobility and precision agriculture. A clean energy future.
Oh, I got climate change too.
Yeah, I don't have climate change on mine.
We can't power the
yeah, you do. It's down to the right.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Technologies of the future.
I think what's really important about Joe Biden's plan is that 40% of the investment will go to vulnerable communities.
We know how to do this. We'll do it again, but this time bigger and faster and smarter.
Joe won't ignore the crisis. We're seeing what happens when we do that. He won't surrender to the fight. Joe's America will lead the world on clean energy. We'll lead on job creation. And America will lead the world again on climate.
I thought we were going to hit one in that last little clip right there.
I know.
This destructive wildfire in California's history broke out. We were visiting family nearly 100 miles away, but my asthma flared badly. I could hardly breathe. I'm Alexandra Villasenor, and I've been organizing young people around climate change since 2018. Climate change is impacting us now, and it's robbing my generation of a future. For young people my age, every aspect of our lives, from where we go to school to what kind of careers we'll have,
man, look at the music.
Whether or not we can raise a family.
Right.
Depends on us taking climate change seriously right now.
Oh, they did it up real nice.
Solve this crisis in 4 years.
Got them a little 12-year-old white girl.
But he will be back on track so that my generation can have a fighting chance. I'm asking you to join us. Don't let our futures go up in flames.
The corn growers near my parents' farm have a
Just for a second. Number one cause of forest fires is what, Glenn?
Number one cause of forest fires is sweeping.
Human.
I was gonna say sweeping ash. Right?
Us. We light them. Ain't the world just burning us.
No, you know that the heat just comes down from the sun and sets trees ablaze. You know.
4th of July. These days are lucky if the corn is even planted because of unpredictable and torrential spring rains. I'm Andrew Adamski. I studied microbial ecology at...
Is this the same dude? Spray painting buildings in Seattle? I mean, I hate to judge a book by its cover, son, but I think I've seen you in a pair of black boots.
Yo, I'm telling you, I seen him in one of those.
Yeah, I don't think you're on the right team, brother.
One of them advertisements.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's wrong, man.
Northern Michigan University. Us farmers can see the effects of climate change happening right in front of us. So we've been trying to do our part. We're adopting sustainable solutions on my family's farm, switching to a community model, using less land, and reusing our resources to grow our food. We are eliminating tons of carbon pollution every year by mimicking natural ecosystems. Farmers can be part of the climate solution instead of a problem. Today, we all can grow our own future, but we need our leaders to be part of the solution as well, instead of part of the problem. We need them to commit to the science, not ignore it. We need them to put real plans on the table.
Davey Derrick said something about someone talking in third person drives me nuts.
Revolution.
Yeah, me too, brother.
Kenny agrees with you.
Time talking about climate change with different communities here in Nevada. And the one question that I get asked over and over again is, what are you doing here? Not a lot of climate activists look like me. My name is Catherine Lorenzo. I'm an Afro-Latina and I'm a climate activist. I grew up in a low-income neighborhood where pollution rates are often higher than wealthier areas, and a lot of kids have asthma. Switching to renewable energy would mean cleaner air, better health, and a steadier income for folks in neighborhoods like mine. Because solar PV installers and wind turbine techs are some of the fastest growing jobs in the country, and Joe Biden's plan is transformative. He knows that saving the planet isn't just a challenge to overcome, it's an opportunity for a better way of life.
So it's going to be America.
Are you ready to vote for Joe Biden?
Are you ready to solve the climate crisis?
Because our futures depend on it.
Oh,
Like
thought they were gonna follow that up with
another activist.
So-and-so failed to act.
Not to.
With the what?
So-and-so failed to act.
Yeah. Oh, do I have that on there?
Yeah, they didn't do it. They didn't say it though. I thought they were going to. It would have been the perfect time to say it.
Even before she herself was old enough to vote, she held registration drives before her shows, signing up thousands of voters. She's a voice for her generation in both her music and her.
Hold on, who is this? Which lady is this? Who is? She's that singer, right?
Yeah, she's a singer, and she's in that.
She's thinned out, right?
I want to say Diana Ross for some reason. Huh?
Country and everything.
Oh shit!
Eilish.
I'm not just somebody's daughter. Good thing she dressed up for the appearance.
Problems like climate change and COVID, not deny them. Leaders who will fight against systemic racism and inequality.
There it is, racism.
Oh,
voting for someone who understands.
I know I got me an inequality button.
Did she say equality already? I missed it.
Yeah, but she said inequality.
Oh, does that still count?
Probably doesn't. Damn.
Nah.
Hold on, I didn't put inequality.
Oh, I have equally on mine.
I'm not the best speller.
Oh, was it supposed to be equality?
No, it's supposed to be equally. That one's equally.
Come on, man.
I know.
Someone who's building a team that shares our values. It starts with voting against Donald Trump and for Joe Biden. Silence is not an option, and we cannot sit this one out. We all have to vote like our lives and the world depend on it.
And they're really pushing for young voters, huh?
The only way to the future is to make it ourselves.
Please register. Please vote. I can't seem to focus.
Oh, she got a. This is probably gonna be copyrighted.
Yeah, it's all good.
Let me catch us up a little bit.
Who we are as a nation. On my mother's side, my grandparents came here as immigrants, part of a rich history that has also defined America. My grandparents came is to my heart. The Black community in this country is hugely diverse. On my
So hold on a second. Is that one Black? She said the Black community. Is it Black communities, right? Black/brown communities or people?
Oh yeah, Black communities.
Yeah.
Damn. Man, you a fair share, and I think he probably already said Trump doesn't believe science, but you missed it on the other one.
Oh yeah, I missed that.
Yep.
You got it marked on yours?
I'll have to go back and check, but I'm sure it's going to be said again.
Oh yeah, at a DNC, sure. Kenny, it disappeared on us.
I know. I'm trying to get a sandwich. You were supposed to cover for me. Fuck it, I'll just go get it like this.
At least hit play on the majig, you know. I'm trying to get some points while you're making your sandwich, bro. But yeah, guys, let us know what you think, man. So this is kind of fun, you know, commentating the DNC, doing a little bingo with it. We're gonna see what's going on. He really put the thing. That's on here.
I meant to push
the thing. The thing, you know.
Part of the great migration north that has played such a defining role in who we are as a nation. On my mother's side, my grandparents came here as immigrants, part of a rich history that has also defined America. They immigrated to this country from the West Indies through Ellis Island in the 1920s. I often think about how my grandmother must have felt when she first saw the Statue of Liberty and her raised torch. My family's story is not unique. Unless you're Native American, your family likely came here from somewhere else. Whether it was 5 years ago or 200 years ago, whether it was by choice or by bondage. Etched into the DNA of who we are as a nation is the very idea that though you may be from somewhere else, you can find your home here. But that idea is in danger now more than ever before.
Tell me when I start reading. Dear Donald Trump.
They couldn't have cut that part out? Tell me when I should start reading.
My best friend. She came to America as a teenager over 20 years ago without papers in search of a better life. She married my dad, who served our country as a Marine in South America, Africa, and Iraq. My mom worked hard and paid taxes, and the Obama administration told her she could stay.
Obama, there it is.
My dad thought you would protect military.
Damn it. Yep.
Families, so we voted for you in 2016, Mr. President. He says he won't vote for you again after what you did to our family.
The wife of a U.S. Marine veteran was deported to Mexico.
Instead of protecting us, you tore our world apart.
My mom is a good person, and she's not a criminal.
Now, my mom is gone, and she's been taken from us for no reason at all. Every day that passes, you deport more moms and dads and take them.
It's okay. I gotta say something. First of all,
it's so emotional, man.
God, well, Barack Obama deported. We've already went over this. More than twice as many people as Trump did. Pretty close to twice as amount. And the story is terribly sad. But why were you here for so long and nobody went through the process? Now, if it's a process, we do need a better process. But Trump had been trying to get money for the wall, and he was going to allow so many people to become citizens, or at least have all the same rights, and the Democrats wouldn't do it. So, I mean,
I think that's what he said on the surface. I don't know if that's really what he truly planned on doing. It just didn't happen that way. That's
right. It didn't happen, but he put out, I mean, that was the offer in Congress.
Yeah, that was the offer in Congress. It just, like I said, it didn't happen anything remotely close to that.
But that's because the Democrats didn't sign for the funding. That was the
for the wall. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. They definitely didn't, and a lot of them still don't believe in the wall.
Right, which I get, but this story probably could have been prevented. And the sad part is there's a lot of good people. There's a lot of good people. I think I've said this before in my friend list who are illegal today. It's not an easy process. They need to fix the process.
Right.
But we can't act like, I mean, if it is okay for people to just come here illegally, then it has to be okay for the entire country of Libya, of Syria, of every country. If they can just come over. Like, we can't just say, oh, okay, it's okay for Mexico, it's okay for Guatemala, it's okay for El Salvador, it's okay for Brazil, it's okay for, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have some kind of laws. And it's sad. I feel bad for this little girl and her family, but you do have to have laws. So if her dad was a Marine, he definitely, I was in the Marine Corps, clearly. He could have gone to his command and tried to get her help to get her paperwork and stuff. Like, I mean, it's frustrating because this is a problem that could be solved. For 8 years, Biden was in the White House and he didn't solve it. This lady said she had been here for 15 years. Well, that certainly overlaps for 12 years. And so now they're going to vote for somebody that didn't help them for 12 years? Oh, but because he let her stay here. I mean, at some point, I agree with Mark. It says we're not getting the whole story. But let's go ahead and let it run out. Unless you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's 100% true. We're not getting the whole story. But yeah, I think it's a sad situation and it's sticky because there's a lot of things that are really happening here. But at the end of the day, I mean, if the guy was a United States Marine, but also too, other ethnicities, people don't just know this stuff either. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the other part. You kind of touched on it a little bit, Kenny, when you talked about a better system. And I definitely think we need to have a better system implemented for people to become, citizens or become legal. But also, in that same breath, not just becoming legal, but the information, putting the information out there, the education, so that people know what to do. Like, they know the process, they know where to go, because some people don't even know where to start. Like, if you were from a different country and you never heard of, social services, like, you don't know what that is. You don't know that every city has a social services office. Yeah. And that would be a good place to start for most things that are like that. But, some people just really genuinely don't know that. And then also too, there's so many different things. Like, just to kind of take it back to school, because I know you had mentioned he could have went to his commanding officer, and that may be true. Maybe he could have went to his commanding officer. I just know there's situations where people don't always get along with their superiors, and maybe they didn't want to go to them. It's not really an excuse for something that's serious, but there's all sorts of things that happen with that. So I just think that,
hold on, before you leave that point, because I'm going to agree with you that I think the other thing is there's a lot of fear there, right? So when nothing's happening to you, you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to go try to find out more about
any feathers.
Right, exactly. Which is why we really need a clear path to legalization. And then unfortunately, we do have to have some sort of litmus test. This can't be a country that just has everyone come in and everyone, we've got to be able to, kick some people out. Thank you, Kerry.
So what would the litmus test be? And I'm glad you put it that way, because anytime that you see a test in place, people are under this false impression that tests are, you know, if you apply for a job and they make you take a test, you know, people are under the impression that tests are to see one's skill level or one's intelligence, and maybe that may be true on a very surface level. Tests are often created to keep people out, more so than to see like where their skill level is.
Which right, and to a certain extent, that's what it should be. Again, we have a lot of country. Of course, for anybody like myself that believes that this country is the greatest country, if we just have open borders, there's going to be a lot. I mean, outside of the oceans keeping us apart, we can get flooded very easily.
And I agree 100%.
So I'm not sure.
I don't know what that test would be.
That's true. And no matter what you do with the test, it's going to be seen. And to me, you can't. I think that, first of all, you already have some things for people that are claiming asylum, right? So we have an asylum process. And so with the asylum process, you're going to get some poor people in there, and that's okay because we understand they're escaping something else. Unfortunately, outside of that, you probably should have to show some sort of history, 5 to 10 years of you being productive with some sort of almost like a business plan, an interview process of why America should take you in. Because at the end of the day, if it's just because you're looking for a better life, again, you're opening us up to 5 billion people trying to come to the United States. So
right.
it's
and I agree. I
don't totally hate the lottery, but the lottery, I don't believe in lotteries because I
don't like the lottery. Yeah.
I believe that they're skewed, and I believe that political people will be like,
yep,
all right, my buddy's name's going to be on the list.
It happens all the time.
Corrupt.
All the time. You hit the nail on the head.
But the other way can be corrupt too. They need to have a coalition or whatever the word. Coalition of a group of people that come up with some base standards for people that are trying to come in for a better life. If you're trying to come in for, for amnesty, then it's there. Okay, there's avenues for that. But if you're trying to get in just to make yourself have a better life, you should have to. They could end illegal immigration tomorrow if they gave CEOs. I'm gonna tell you why I hate when Republicans say that stuff. CEOs should get 5 years for illegals. That's so stupid.
Yes, touch on this.
Is that I've hired people, and first of all, it's disrespectful and racist for me just to ask. First of all, I do ask the person for a license. They give me a license. I ask the person for a social security card. They give me a social security card. So I'm supposed to run them through some system that I'm supposed to pay for. I'm not immigration. That's not my responsibility.
Exactly.
My job is to run my company. My job is not to control immigration. That is a national issue. Politicians should control that. Not me, Joe business owner. I have to spend all this money trying to figure out if this person's lying to me or not. No.
Nope.
Should I
that doesn't fall on my shoulders. Absolutely not. Doesn't fall on my shoulders. Yeah. And again, it all goes down to the process. There has to be some sort of process for illegals to become legals. And I agree with you, Kenny, because look, the last thing I want, I have a family here, immediate and a lot of extended. So the last thing I want is for the borders to just be open and anybody can just willy-nilly show up when they feel like it. And I don't think it's ever been that way. But again,
it was getting bad where there was a funnel that was funneling into this country that was making cities and I'm sure in Atlanta where our office is. There's a lot of criminality in that area from people that are funneling over the border.
Absolutely.
And E-Verify is a joke. And E-Verify is often asked for, not my problem, it's part of the problem. No, it's not. See, this is what happens when people think it's an individual's responsibility to try to make sure somebody else is legal or not. Yeah, you fight those battles, Mark.
And this is the thing, because
you and I because you asked somebody that and you kept asking and kept asking, even though they gave you the proper documentation. You just keep at it. And then you find out, no, they really are from this country. They just speak Spanish because they've been around their whole family. Now you're a racist and a bigot.
Exactly.
Good luck with the lawsuits that you'll have to fight on that one, Mark. I'm not doing it. And if that was the case, then I wouldn't want to own a business. Look, we have a DACA worker for us. As far as I know, we have legal people. But no, I'm just like Portland's not my problem either. It's not. It's the government's problem. They're the ones that are failing.
Oh my gosh.
Unless Mark is going to go fight the people in Portland, he's saying it's not his problem either. So it's not about whether it's not your problem. It's just funny to me because Mark's not in Portland right now fighting to protect it. Why? Because it's not his responsibility. It's not. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying it's not your problem if it's not your problem. It's not.
And this is the thing too. So, and for Mark, and it's very rare that I agree with Kenny, but he's a business owner. I'm a business owner. He has employees. I have employees. I am not gonna, for one, it costs enough money for me to run a background check. That comes out of my pocket. You know what I mean? For me to do background checks, it costs enough money already. Like that's literally something that I have to consciously think about every month. The last thing I'm going to be doing is trying to figure out if somebody is illegal or not. They show up, they give me the proper documentation, the proper identification. They can provide everything off of the I-9. That's it. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. If they can give me a birth certificate and a social security card or a driver's license and a social, I'm cool with that. They got a mailing address.
I'm not hiring people that I know are illegal with no documentation. Mark, if you went to Portland and you were 25, go ask the dude that just got kicked in his head. I feel like I can throw hands pretty solidly. Okay. But the reality is you going to Portland would do nothing but getting your ass kicked. I'm just trying to keep it real with you. I mean, that's how it works. So you can get a whole group of people together, or the people that you actually elect into office can do their job. I don't understand why we're allowing politicians that take our tax money to, like, their job is very minimal.
Right.
Protect us from outside countries, protect us from war, protect us in our cities.
Keep our supply chain,
keep our
up and running solid.
State to state, keep our highways straight. That's about it. That's about it. Zach, we're about giving a good faith effort. I definitely agree that we should not be saying, hey, some guy comes up and I'm like, hey, just go ahead and mow this lawn. I'm paying you cash under the table. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you start holding business owners responsible.
Because what would it be? Because what would it be, Zach or Mark? What like me as a business owner? Let's say I happen to hire an illegal. Obviously, I didn't do it on purpose, and obviously, I can prove as a business owner that I collected the proper information, the proper data, the proper identification. They filled out, everything. I did a background check, passed everything, but yet turns out that this person is illegal. And then you want to hold me responsible for that?
Well, why don't you have a better system? And I could be wrong, but like my understanding of E-Verify is something that I have to buy. Why do I have to babysit other people? Like,
and then and E-Verify is not even like because I'm a real estate investor, so oftentimes I have to find homeowners, search homeowners. So I have accounts that you can't get, like just a regular person you can't get. But if you're an accredited investor, you can get an account with Bell's Link, or there's some really good ones. I have an account with Bell's Link, and my company has an account with Bell's Link. So I looked at E-Verify. There's a lot of holes in the system. We actually did a 7-day trial run with E-Verify, and I'm, hey, I'm going to get an email from E-Verify, right? But this is just the truth, I did a 7-day trial run with E-Verify, got a lot of misinformation, a lot of wrong addresses, wrong phone numbers, wrong emails, old, outdated information, skip tracing and things like that. So
I want to say one more thing, and then I do want to get back to watching this.
Yeah.
But it says, Mark says, if I find out, I need to report. Here's the deal. What if I believe that our system is screwed up and this person came over here? I might not agree with you that, yes, they're breaking a law. But if I disagree with a certain policy and this person is not doing anything to harm me, it's kind of like if somebody doesn't use the crosswalk, and I think there shouldn't be a crosswalk there, then it's going to depend on circumstances. And we're not going to hold Mark, accountable if he doesn't go tackle somebody that's breaking into a store. That's just not the responsibility of every person. So
And I agree.
People that knowingly hire illegals. I don't know. Look, if people knowingly hire illegals, you'd have to be able to prove that they knowingly hired illegals. I still think you're trying to catch people whose job it is not to do. And again, we can have a further discussion about this, but let's get back. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna put this back on so we can finish the story real quick.
Yep. We'll come back to you guys, Mark and Zach.
Yep.
You separated thousands of children from their parents and you put them in cages.
Those are all Obama's cages, which is just.
Some of those kids are now orphans because of you.
These are people. I don't want them in our country.
That was terrible that they just clipped it right. That these are not people. That was not the whole statement there, but.
Mr. President.
That is so. Like I hate that. I hate.
Hey, look, they do it on both sides. I don't even get my panties in a bunch about it anymore, bro. Like,
man, to that level though, people are watching this thinking
dude,
they called all these people animals.
After what I saw, how I saw them chop and screw Biden up, I'm like, man, anything is on the table with these politicians.
Look, but when we have our thing Friday, I'll give you all that time to find me one as trifling as that comment right there was. That was horrible.
That was bad. Yeah, that was fucked. That was rough.
Yeah.
Sister Jessica. We're like all families. We work hard to build a good life.
I was born with spina bifida. That means my spinal cord didn't form as it should. And the doctors in my town said I wouldn't survive. They gave my mother no hope for my future.
I'm a U.S. citizen, but my mother is undocumented.
And I am a dreamer. Yo hice lo que cualquier madre haría.
The dreamer would be a citizen if the Democrats would have passed the bill. Just saying.
Do to save her baby's life.
Tomé a mi niña en brazos, viajamos a la frontera. Al llegar al río, la levanté sobre el agua y cruzamos.
She took my sister in her arms and traveled for days to reach the border. And when they got to the river, she lifted my sister above the water and crossed.
We came to America before I was 1 year old. She saved my life. No podía esperar. Tenía que venir en ese momento en busca de un milagro.
My mother had no choice. There was no time to wait to save my sister. She came here looking for a miracle.
Tenía miedo que nos encontraran, que nos detuvieran y nos regresaran. Pero yo tenía que salvar a mi hija.
Seems like it's going pretty well for them. They were crossing a river to get into America, and look at the house they live in right now. It's just a hard look. I feel for this lady and her kid, but gosh damn, like.
We were afraid they would find us and detain us, but she had to save her daughter.
Her home is here.
Well, so at least now you know they're not rapists and drug dealers and murderers and.
Because this one isn't. So no rapists and drug dealers. They're all people that were carrying their kid with spina bifida.
We work and pay our taxes. I've gone to school.
You can't discriminate on a whole group because a few isolated murderers might come along with it.
Well, that's exactly what he said. He talked about some of the murderers, and there are some good people.
Will my mom and sister be detained? Will my sister get the health care she needs and deserves?
Nah, he said they're not sending their best. They're not sending over your doctors and lawyers. They're sending over the rapists, which is totally different than the statement you just made. That makes it seem like they're literally sending over their grade D and below.
They are 100% not sending over doctors and lawyers. That is a fact. Now
they're oftentimes coming from third world countries. There's not many educated people in general that are coming over. Usually poor, but not necessarily bad people. There's going to be some bad people, but
no, the people that come legally. When you can get a bus driver that came here from California. I mean, from Africa,
Mexico.
And this guy's been a doctor in his country, and now all of a sudden he's a cab driver in America. So. There are people that came over with education. He said the country itself is not sending them. So the drug dealers, there is a lot coming. When people come here, it is definitely has a lot of drugs and corruption. It's not to say that all of them are, certainly. Again, I have lots of friends that have came over that way, and I've heard some stories that are actually way worse than this lady's. I mean, I know people that have been beaten and robbed, and it is terrible. But it's a system that we have to fix. It doesn't free it up because her story's good. This lady, I mean, look at the house they're in. There's no question they upgraded their life. And so they don't want to go back. Well, of course they don't want to go back, but they did come here illegally. So you can't just say, oh, well, this lovely story. So then everyone can come, like, there just has to be some sort of
No, and I don't think that's what they're saying. Not that everybody can just come over
no,
here.
they are. They are. They're saying, look at my story. We're not bad people, which everyone knows that. Trump's not going to watch this and go, they're bad people, right? Trump's not trying to deport these people. If you've listened to the laws that try to get passed, were all about people who had multiple criminal records. He wasn't sending these people back. So I would love to know the deeper story on the people that got sent back, because the people who are not breaking laws, I mean, I know it's in Maryland. Like, they're not mass deporting anybody. Republicans would be madder about what Trump's done with deportations than Democrats should be able to even sell this.
Yeah.
I need health insurance.
But
I deserve it, right?
I agree with that.
She deserves health insurance. Imagine all the benefits they get from living in America, which they're not from America. If I went to France and tried to get their health care, I would love to see how that would go. All right, let me see. Let's see if we can get to somebody's speech. Oh, no.
Your jam right here.
Is this the same guy that said he got robbed by the MAGA guys? Is that Jesse Smollett?
This is not an episode of Empire.
Come on, I want to hear the speaker. And for the record, I've been for fixing the immigration system for a long time. A lot of illegals I love. I want there to be pathways. All right, here we go.
The morning after the last election, I said, we owe Donald Trump an open mind and the chance to lead. I meant it. Every president deserves that. And Trump came in with so much set up for him: a strong economy, plans for managing crises, including a pandemic. Yes, we Democrats would have disagreed with him on many things, but if he had put his own interests and ego aside, seen the humanity in a child ripped from her parents at the border, or a protester calling for justice, or a family wiped out by natural disaster, that would have been a good thing for America and the world. I wish Donald Trump knew how to be a president, because America needs a president right now. Throughout this time of crisis, Americans keep going, checking on neighbors, showing up to jobs as first responders, hospitals, grocery stores, nursing homes. Yes, it still takes a village. And we need leaders equal to this moment of sacrifice and service. We need Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Everyone has a story about Joe's caring and empathy. I remember him calling after my mother, Dorothy, died, and we talked about being raised by strong women. The best testament to Joe is how he's cared for his family. And how great is it that Dr. Jill Biden plans to keep teaching as First Lady. And Joe picked the right partner in Kamala. She's relentless in the pursuit of justice and equity, and she's kind. When her press secretary, Tyrone Gale, was dying of cancer, she dropped everything to be with him in his final moments. I know something about the slings and arrows she'll face, and believe me, this former district attorney and attorney general can handle them all. So this is the team to pull our nation back from the brink, but they can't do it without us. For 4 years, people have told me, I didn't realize how dangerous he was. I wish I could do it all over, or worse, I should have voted. Look, this can't be another woulda, coulda, shoulda election. If you vote by mail, request your ballot now and send it back right away. If you vote in person, do it early. Become a poll worker. Most of all, no matter what, vote. As Michelle Obama and Bernie Sanders warned us, if Trump is reelected, things will get even worse. That's why we need unity now more than ever. Remember back in 2016 when Trump asked, what do you have to lose? Well, now we know: our health care, our jobs, our loved ones, our leadership in the world, and even our post office. But let's set our sights higher than getting one man out of the White House. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to give us so much to vote for. Let's vote for the jobs that Joe's plan will create. Clean energy jobs to fight climate change, caregiving jobs with living wages. Vote for emergency relief that lifts small businesses and saves hardworking people from foreclosures and evictions. It's wrong that billionaires got $400 billion richer during the pandemic, while millions lost their $600 a week in extra unemployment. Vote for the parents and teachers struggling to balance children's education and safety, and for healthcare workers fighting COVID-19 with little help from the White House. Vote for paid family leave and healthcare for everyone, for Social Security, Medicare, and Planned Parenthood, for dreamers and their families. Vote for law enforcement, purge the racial bias that keeps all our streets safe. Vote for justice for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery.
Oh, there we go. Got one.
Matter.
I got
Which
George.
one did you get? George Floyd?
I got two of them in that one.
We, not a foreign
I got George Floyd and Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I got Black Lives Matter. I was the only one.
Hopeful America we saw in last night's roll call. And don't forget, Joe and Kamala can win by 3 million votes and still lose. Take it from me. So we need members.
She's so corny.
So Trump can't sneak or steal his way to victory. Text vote 3033.
Double up.
100 years ago,
That's a popular one.
The 15th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified. It took 7 decades of suffragists marching, picketing, and going to jail to push us closer to a more perfect union. 55 years ago, John Lewis marched.
Oh, John Lewis.
Because that
there you go.
I'm a come on man away.
Who see themselves in America's future because of Kamala Harris.
I'm a fair share, and Trump doesn't believe in science away from
immigrants and our nominee.
I am a come on man.
This is our country's story. And expanding the circle of possibility.
All right, our friend Nikki appears to be thinking that Miss Clinton yapping a bunch of BS.
So far, we can still be a more just, equal country.
Well, I mean, she's Hillary Clinton, so.
There's a lot of heartbreak in America now. And the truth is, many things were broken before the pandemic. But as the saying goes, the world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places. That's Joe Biden. He knows how to keep going, unify, and lead, because he's done that for his family and country. So come November, if we're strong together, we'll heal together. We'll redeem the soul and the promise of our country, led by President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala.
I should have put President Vice Joe Biden on here.
Tonight is a night steeped in women who have stepped into service and advocacy and who are using their power for good. The power of women is undeniable, whether it's in the office, in the home, or in the House of Representatives. It is my honor to introduce the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Sure, she's just a normal Joe in the salon.
Be prepared to take a punch.
There goes.
And now, please welcome Speaker.
Their timing has been terrible.
Terrible.
Bring the greetings of House Democrats.
Because she started talking before they were done.
60% women, people of color, and LGBTQ. Our diversity is our strength. Our unity is our power. This month, as America marks the centennial of women finally winning the right to vote, we do so with 105 women in the House. Proudly, 90 are Democrats. To win the vote, women marched and fought and never gave in. We stand on their shoulders, charged with carrying forward the unfinished work of our nation, advanced by heroes from Seneca Falls to Selma.
I hope her teeth don't fall out mid-discussion.
4 years ago, when President Obama and Vice President Biden were in the White House, they made us proud, and their leadership made our country great. In that spirit, we come together now, not to decry the darkness, but to light a way forward for our country. That is the guiding purpose of House Democrats, fighting for the people. We have sent the Senate bills for lower health care costs, for bigger paychecks, for cleaner government, protecting John Lewis's voting rights, and enacting the Justice and Policing Act. We've sent the Senate bills to protect our dreamers, LGBTQ equality, to prevent gun violence, and to protect our planet for future generations, and even more. All of this is possible for America. Who are standing in the way? Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. Our nation faces the worst health and economic catastrophe in our history. More than 5 million Americans are infected by the coronavirus. Over 170,000 have died. The science-based action in the HEROES Act we enacted 3 months ago is essential to safeguard lives, livelihood, and the life of our democracy. And who is standing in the way? Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. Instead of crushing the virus, they're trying to crush the Affordable Care Act and its pre-existing conditions benefit.
That's a lie. Trump has always been for pre-existing conditions.
I've seen firsthand Donald Trump's disrespect for facts, for working families, and for women in particular. Disrespect written into his policies toward our health and our rights.
Can Donald Trump disrespect for facts? Can that be considered calls Trump a liar?
No, she'll get to where he's a liar.
Yeah. She needs to use liar.
And so we are unleashing the power of women to take our rightful place in our national life by championing a woman's right to choose and defending Roe v. Wade, securing safe and affordable child care, preserving Social Security, and passing equal pay for equal work. Who's standing?
Oh, her teeth fell. She had to tuck them back in.
We will remember in November when we will elect Joe Biden president, whose heart is full of love for America and rid the country of Trump's heartless disregard for America's goodness. Joe Biden's faith in God gives him the courage to lead. Joe Biden's love gives him the strength to persevere. Joe Biden is the president we need right now, battle-tested, forward-looking, honest, and authentic. He has never forgotten who he is fighting for. And Kamala Harris is the vice president we need right now, committed to our Constitution, brilliant in defending it, and a witness to the
I'll go ahead and take a pass on that one.
Our voices will be heard. Our mission is to fight for a future equal to the ideals of our founders, our hopes for our children, and the sacrifices of our veterans, our brave men and women in uniform, and their families. We will increase our majority in the House. We will win a Democratic majority in the Senate. We will elect Kamala Harris vice president, and we will elect Joe Biden president of the United States of America. God bless you, and God bless America.
So you just need fair share, right?
Thank you.
Fair share, and Trump doesn't believe in science.
House is the people.
Oh, you didn't get there? I already said that.
To ensure it's
I missed it?
During the
to elect Joe Biden.
we need Hillary just said it. Trump didn't believe science.
If you are able, please go to Joe Biden.
I must have missed it. I didn't hear it.
Whatever you can to support.
Hillary said it?
Yeah.
Last year,
I'm gonna mark it then. So all I need is fair share.
House reauthorized the Violence Against Women Act. Joe Biden wrote that landmark law nearly 30 years ago. Since then, he and other leaders have built on it. But for all of this work, women are still not entirely safe. So the work must continue. Joe Biden.
Just to be clear, no one's always safe.
Knows that, and he is committed to doing that work, to making sure that women are safe,
Smelt.
to making sure our
Voices are heard and hair is smelled.
My name is Rita. In 1992, my husband shot me and left me for dead. For 13 years, my son and I had been abused by him. We finally escaped, but he tracked us down. Back then, there was limited help available and no national hotline to call. Local shelters were full. I didn't even know the name for what was happening to me then, domestic violence. Now working to end domestic violence is my life's work.
I'm Mariska Hargitay.
Ah!
When I started doing research to play Detective Olivia Benson on Law & Order SVU over 20 years ago, I was shocked to find out how many people, including children, experience physical or sexual abuse. The statistics fueled my resolve, and I committed myself to the movement to end this violence.
My name is Carly Dryden. In my small hometown, I didn't feel like I could speak out about my experience with sexual assault. But at the University of Puget Sound, I met an incredible force of people working to end the culture of sexual assault. I went from survivor to advocate.
As the president and CEO of the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, I've seen Joe Biden's passionate leadership in passing the Violence Against Women Act. Now, domestic violence rates are rising due to this pandemic. We need Congress to reauthorize and enhance that law. We need leaders who believe that a woman's life is worth fighting for.
Joe Biden is that kind of leader. I created the Joyful Heart Foundation to help survivors heal and to change the way our society responds to sexual violence. The Vice President has worked tirelessly by our side to end the backlog of hundreds of thousands of untested rape kits. And our work will continue because testing kits not only makes our country safer, but it sends a vital message to survivors that what happened to them matters.
The most important thing you can say to a survivor is, I hear you. That's why I became a leader in It's on Us. It's a program started by Vice President Biden to eliminate sexual assault on college campuses and support a new generation of advocates, including men and boys. Because if you're silent, you're complicit, and we're just getting started.
I am voting for Joe Biden on behalf of all victims and survivors of domestic violence.
I'm voting for Joe Biden because it's on my generation to make sure that we never go back.
I'm voting for Joe Biden for my daughter, for my sons, for all of our children.
First episode was a slap to the face and he broke my eardrum. Punching, kicking, choking, threatening with a knife or a gun.
He had always threatened me if I had ever called the police on him.
Are these Trump's ex-wives speaking? I hope not, or this bitch might be over.
Right.
I wonder what my ex-wives would say, though. No comment.
I'm going to say, you going to go there?
My husband stabbed me 13 times and broke my neck while the police were on the scene. I nearly died and I am permanently paralyzed.
Senator Joe Biden invited them to speak.
Battered women need to be taken seriously. Proper police response can prevent what happened to me from happening to someone else. Thank you.
Thank you.
At the time, the police considered domestic violence something that was not a crime. In the home, it's a private matter. And so women were responsible for their own injuries.
I was about to say I know. Well, I don't know. I can only guess how painful that is.
Growing up, our father said that the greatest of all sins was the abuse of power. He told us when a bully, when someone bigger or
You mean like getting a job at Burisma and making millions of dollars for something that you didn't do?
stronger takes advantage of you, that is a really grave sin. The expectation was for all four of us to be a person of character. If you see something wrong, we were then expected to stand up and do something about it.
When Joe introduced the legislation, few believed it could pass.
Our bill is an ambitious undertaking. It is the first attempt to address violent crimes against women.
It was hard to get the votes because you had some traditionalists who just didn't believe that there should be laws about this.
But Joe doesn't give up. He's tenacious. Joe persevered, and he's very good at persuasion.
They're doing nothing to help them. Nothing.
He brought together law enforcement, prosecutors, advocates, and survivors.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak.
In 1994, the Violence Against Women Act became law and protected millions of American women.
A lot of the change in the attitudes we have about domestic violence were shaped by his leadership on this.
If you see something wrong, we were then expected to stand up and do something about it.
We're both in agreement. You should not beat up women, right?
If you're just joining us, welcome. Coming up, we're going to hear from President Barack Obama and Senator Kamala Harris, who will talk about the Biden-Harris vision for the future. But in order to get to that more perfect union, we have to acknowledge where we are. Today in America, we are struggling. Unemployment has skyrocketed and families are fighting to keep their jobs.
And Kerry Washington's looking really thin.
To build back better. To find out how you can join that effort, please text JOIN to 30330.
Is that Kerry Washington?
Yeah.
And to get information on how to vote and how to volunteer. Joe Biden has a plan to help working families.
No, Mark, she doesn't believe Biden's accuser.
Hilda Solis worked alongside him as Secretary of Labor to make sure that there were good American
domestic
jobs
sniffing.
and that Americans were safe.
I put that out. That was hilarious.
Biden Harris economic plan. Please welcome Hilda Solis.
Yeah, that was funny.
I'm Hilda Solis. The day Vice President Biden swore me in as Secretary of Labor was one of the proudest moments of my life. My parents realized they'd achieved their American dream because the daughter of two blue-collar immigrants would make history and give voice to people just like them. American workers need a fighter now more than ever. And Joe Biden is that person because he has done it before and I've seen it firsthand. He and President Obama made it easier for home care workers to organize. They extended overtime pay to more than 4 million workers. They saved the automobile industry and a whole lot of good union jobs with it. And when millions of families lost their homes, my friend from California, Senator Kamala Harris, took on the big banks and won. But because of Donald Trump's failures, we must once again rescue a sinking economy. Millions of Americans are out of work, and communities of color are the hardest hit. Millions of essential workers are putting their lives at risk with little protections, and millions more are just plain tired. That's why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually have a plan, not only to recover what we lost, but to improve upon it, to build back better. Creating 5 million good union jobs by bringing back supply chains to America. That's building back better. Creating millions of jobs by investing in clean energy. That's building back better. And making sure that working families can afford childcare. That's how we build back better. So let me borrow and slightly edit
You didn't mention free healthcare there.
At my swearing in. When it comes to expanding the economy for all people, no one is going to be a stronger voice than our next president, Joe Biden. The conversation you're about to see proves it.
Behind every business, there's a story.
Small businesses around the country are bearing the economic brunt of the coronavirus pandemic.
And behind every business, there's a family.
A lot of people clearly are in pain right now.
For every farm, there's a fight to stay whole.
There's hard work.
And there's heartbreak.
We are going to lose 20 to 30% of our small businesses.
This is the story of Kevin and Molly Johnson, a family-owned business in Lake County, Ohio.
We have 10 to 12 employees on a given day. When COVID-19 hit, it was a lot of confusion.
I remember being scared and being uncertain.
We shut down last week because we ran out of work, and we got enough to come in for another week. If we don't get additional orders in, we're going to have to look at another shutdown.
You can't make a big purchase equipment. You can't plan for the
We
future.
don't even know if we can cover payroll. When this isn't going well, it's scary.
You're kind of forgotten, right? The president always bragging about the stock market sort of leaves a lot of small manufacturing companies behind.
We could use a little help right now, and it just seems like we get one step forward and then 2 steps back.
This is the story of Jernay Green, who just started a clothing store and then COVID hit.
Fashion has been a love of mine since I was a kid. I worked really hard to save money to open the store. Did my ribbon cutting December 14th of 2019, and it was booming, and then bam, here's COVID. It was scary. No one was buying anything. My employees, they're gone. I reached out to my bank, but they stated that they had no more money. It's gone to a lot of the bigger businesses, the $1 million businesses who get the bailout. And a small business like myself is just left to struggle.
All right, she lied like shit right there. When a bank turns you down, they don't say we gave all our money to big millionaire banks. That's not what they say. I've tried to get a loan before. They don't tell you that.
Nah, I don't think she said that they told her that. I think that she said that that's what happened.
Nah, she just said that's what they told her.
Yeah, because they definitely don't tell you that.
Yeah, no. And I empathize.
That's a violation. That's actually against the law. They can't disclose that information.
I mean, this is what frustrates me about, like, if we didn't shut down businesses, which we've gone over the numbers before, if we didn't shut down businesses, and these businesses would be open. So I don't understand where the connection is, but we'll see.
Being an African-American female business owner under President Trump, I feel, how can I say, I'm alone. I'm alone.
What are you talking about? My business partners are black. They're not alone.
One closed and one still open.
It's always
got that PPE money too. What?
Begin. Crowded in here with babies and families and crowds outside waiting to get in. It was pretty exciting. And on the day of the shutdown,
It's crazy, man. Shutting down hurts businesses.
reviewed in the Los Angeles Times. On that day, the virus was announced as a global pandemic.
It's really, really sad to see. And if we don't turn this around soon, I mean, we're going to see this not just be this year, but you're going to see ghost town for Main Street USA.
The first decision that I had to make, because 100 people are looking at you. And unfortunately, the call was to furlough everybody. At this point, I don't even see myself in business next month.
Esta pandemia ha sido en su trabajo y su espíritu.
Es más difícil, mucho más trabajo. Yo voy a hacer todo lo posible por salvar el restaurante.
We don't ask for much from government, but catch us when we're falling. And I know that it must feel like you're falling right now without a net.
Restaurants are among the hardest businesses to succeed at. But
Glenn, now maybe it's just me, but I see a little twist of irony. The last video, the last segment was on how we should be letting more and more people into this country. And if they're here, letting them remain citizens and having, I didn't hear anything about like a pathway to citizenship. Just if you came here, you can stay here. And then the next one's about how we don't have enough money for these businesses. But if we open the businesses and let's say like some of her employees, now again, I mean, I'm just based on the fact that he didn't speak English, that if he's illegal, then that would be a job that somebody else would be able to have if the economy reopens. I don't know. It's just hard not to see a little bit of irony in the timing of the way they're doing it.
Like they should have split it up more. They should have separated that message.
Yeah, don't put them right next to each other.
Right.
My mind's still working through that.
The story of Dan Miner. He's a fifth-generation farmer.
Assholes like us catch that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not so sure that the president understands that When he thinks about business, I don't think he thinks about farmers as a business.
No, he has no clue about this stuff.
He's given $30 billion in farming supplements.
Since 1864, trade tariffs with China have just been horrible. Part of the language in the trade deal said that China does not have to buy unless the price is to their advantage. What kind of trade deal is that? That's no deal. Then when COVID hit, then everything was plummeted. Getting through now, that's the problem. That's the day-to-day battle.
I believe that Joe Biden will be a clear voice for us, something that we have not had.
Joe Biden has an understanding of what the average American.
I'm sorry. I just feel like business owners trying to sell me on Biden is like chickens trying to sell me KFC.
Enough is enough. It's time to have small businesses, middle-class folks manage their way through a pandemic. I have a lot of confidence in Joe Biden. He's a fighter and he's the real deal.
We've taken a lot of knockdowns, and we know that at the end of the day, we will endure.
We will rise again.
Every time I get knocked down, I got to get up and keep running, keep going.
Sounded like 5 Republicans right there. Did she just say pull herself up by the bootstraps?
Tonight, we've heard from the people who make America work. People
Here we go.
Hold on, we need total silence. We want to give this native Indian all the respect she deserves. Come on, little red feather.
put their lives on the line to keep our country going. And since COVID-19 hit, they've taken one gut punch after another. And what has the COVID fallout done to our babies? Well, I'm here at the Early Childhood Education Center in Springfield, Massachusetts, which has been closed for months. Childcare was already hard to find before the pandemic, and now parents are stuck. No idea when schools can safely reopen, and even fewer childcare options. The devastation is enormous. And the way I see it, big problems demand big solutions. Now, I love a good plan. And Joe Biden has some really good plans. Plans to bring back union jobs in manufacturing and create new union jobs in clean energy. Plans to increase Social Security benefits, cancel billions in student loan debt, and make our bankruptcy laws work for families instead of the creditors who cheat them. These plans were...
Okay, look, I hate to do this to everybody, but we got to fast forward through her because Obama just came on. And we're not going to be here much longer, so we might as well listen to
Barack.
Barack.
Would much rather listen to him than Warren.
Right.
And we'll listen to that speech as it gets underway from the museum in Philadelphia.
All right, here we go.
As you've seen by now, this isn't a normal convention. It's not a normal time. So tonight, I want to talk as plainly as I can about the stakes in this election. Because what we do these next 76 days will echo through generations to come.
That's pretty much like the same thing as saying choice will decide America for a long time. That's literally like it.
Inhumanity of slavery.
It's pretty close.
Pretty damn close.
And even men who didn't own property, the right to participate in the political process. But embedded in this document was a North Star that would guide future generations. A system of representative government, a democracy, through which we could better realize our highest ideals. Through civil war and bitter struggles, we improved this Constitution to include the voices of those who'd once been left out. And gradually, we made this country more just and more equal.
Oh,
yeah. Constitutional office, elected by all of the people, is the presidency. So at a minimum, we should expect a president to feel a sense of responsibility for the safety and welfare of all 330 million of us, regardless of what we look like, how we worship, who we love, how much money we have, or who we voted for.
Amen.
But we should also expect a president to be the custodian of this democracy. We should expect that regardless of ego, ambition, or political beliefs, the president will preserve, protect, and defend the freedoms and ideals that so many Americans marched for, went to jail for, fought for, and died for. I have sat in the Oval Office with both of the men who are running for president. I never expected that my successor would embrace my vision or continue my policies. I did hope, for the sake of our country, that Donald Trump might show some interest in taking the job seriously. That he might come to feel the weight of the office and discover some reverence.
This is what Barack was thinking as he was recording the conversation.
But he never did. For close to 4 years now, he has shown no interest in putting in the work. No interest in finding common ground. No interest in using the awesome power of his office to help anyone but himself and his friends. No interest in treating the presidency as anything but one more reality show that he can use to get the attention he craves.
He does crave attention. I'll give you that.
Trump hasn't grown into the job.
Absolutely.
Because he can't. And the consequences of that failure are severe. 170,000 Americans dead. Millions of jobs gone. While those at the top taken more than ever. Our worst impulses unleashed. Our proud reputation around the world badly diminished.
Disagree with that.
And our democratic institutions threatened like never before. Now, I know that in times as polarized as these, most of you have already made up your mind. But maybe you're still not sure which candidate you'll vote for, or whether you'll vote at all. Maybe you're tired of the direction we're headed, but you can't see a better path yet. Or you just don't know enough about the person who wants to lead us there. So let me tell you about my
44 years in office. You better know.
12 years ago, when I began my search for a vice president, I didn't know I'd end up finding a brother. Joe and I come from different places, different generations, but what I quickly came to admire about Joe Biden is his resilience, born of too much struggle, his empathy, born of too much grief. Joe's a man who learned early on to treat every person he meets with respect and dignity, living by the words his parents taught him. No one's better than you, Joe, but you're better than nobody. That empathy, that decency, the belief that everybody counts, that's who Joe is. When he talks with someone who's lost her job, Joe remembers the night his father sat him down to say that he'd lost his. When Joe listens to a parent who's trying to hold it all together right now, he does it as a single dad who took the train back.
Look, he's fantastic at speaking, but who sits down with the president? Does the president come to your house and you lose your job and he's like, look, I know what it's like. Glennon, when you lost your job. So I'm not laughing because the speech is very good. It's just funny because it's such just not real life. Like politics is funny this way, but I'm gonna let him finish.
Great speech so far. I'll give him that. Barack is the man. For sure.
When he meets with military families who've lost their hero, he does it as a kindred spirit, the parent of an American soldier. Somebody whose faith has endured the hardest loss there is.
True stuff, Zach.
Joe was the last one in the room whenever I faced a big decision. He made me a better president, and he's got the character and the experience to make us a better country. And in my friend Kamala Harris, he's chosen an ideal partner who is more than prepared for the job. Someone who knows what it's like to overcome barriers and who's made a career fighting to help others live out their own American dream. Along with the experience needed to get things done, Joe and Kamala have concrete policies that will turn their vision of a better, fairer, stronger country into reality. They will get this pandemic under control, like Joe did when he helped me manage H1N1 and prevent an Ebola outbreak from reaching our shores.
Ebola is sexually transmitted. It's a lot different.
Healthcare to more Americans, like Joe and I did 10 years ago, when he helped craft the Affordable Care Act and nail down the votes to make it the law. They'll rescue the economy, like Joe helped me do after the Great Recession. I asked him to manage the Recovery Act, which jump-started the longest stretch of job growth in history. And he sees this moment now, not as a chance to get back to where we were, but to make long overdue changes so that our economy actually makes life a little easier for everybody. Whether it's the waitress trying to raise a kid on her own, or the shift worker always on the edge of getting laid off, or the student figuring out how to pay for next semester's classes. Joe and Kamala will restore our standing in the world. And as we've learned from this pandemic, that matters. Joe knows the world, and the world knows him. He knows that our true strength comes from setting an example that the world wants to follow. A nation that stands with democracy, not dictators. A nation that can inspire and mobilize others to overcome threats like climate change and terrorism, poverty and disease. But more than anything, what I know about Joe, what I know about Kamala, is that they actually care about every American. And that they care deeply about this democracy.
What about the fat boy pony soldier or whatever the hell he lying dog face pony soldier?
Should be making it easier for people to cast their ballots, not harder. They believe that no one, including the president, is above the law.
Trump's lucky he ain't against this motherfucker. Because, boy, he can sell some shit, boy. Whoo, he's smooth.
Slick with it.
And that no public official, including the president, should use their office to enrich themselves or their supporters.
Like Biden did.
Barack's too charismatic for Trump.
They understand that in this democracy, the commander-in-chief does not use the men and women of our military who are willing to risk everything to protect our nation as political props to deploy against peaceful protesters on our...
There you go, peaceful protest.
Ah, yep. No, I had... Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm fair. Fair. Come on, man. Oh, hold on, one more. Fair. Come on, man. Or choice will decide America for a long time. And that one was really close earlier.
Yeah, I thought she was going to say it earlier, yup.
Yeah, that was super close earlier.
And she literally said it, but just used different words.
Right, she didn't say it in the quote.
Right.
American just because they disagree with you. The free press isn't the enemy, but the way we hold officials accountable. That our ability to work together to solve big problems like a pandemic depend on fidelity to facts and science.
Come on, just give me fair, baby. I know you want to say fair, Barack.
Fair share, baby. That's all I need.
This should be controversial.
Oh, well, if he says fair when he pauses, I already win.
They are American principles. But at this moment, this president
Will be fair.
those who enable them have shown they don't believe in these things.
That's not true. That's a lie.
Tonight, I'm asking you to believe in Joe and Kamala's
I don't believe in
ability
that.
to lead this country out of these dark times and build it back better. But here's the thing. No single American can fix this country alone. Not even a president.
Did you watch his wife's speech? They have the same speechwriter because this is very similar, but I digress.
It is.
Very similar.
Your vote, I make everything better. It requires an active and informed citizenry. So I'm also asking you to believe in your own ability, to embrace your own responsibility as citizens, to make sure that the basic tenets of our democracy endure. Because that's what's at stake right now. Our democracy. Look, I understand why a lot of Americans are down on government. The way the rules have been set up and abused in Congress make it easier for special interests to stop progress than to make progress. Believe me, I know it. I understand why a white factory worker who's seen his wages cut or his job shipped overseas might feel like the government no longer looks out for him, and why a black mom might feel like it never looked out for her at all. I understand why a new immigrant might look around this country and wonder whether there's still a place for him here. Why a young person might look at politics right now, the circus of it all, the meanness and the lies and conspiracy theories, and think, what is the point? Well, here's the point. This president and those in power, those who benefit from keeping things the way they are counting on your cynicism. They know they can't win you over with their policies. So they're hoping to make it as hard as possible for you to vote and to convince you that your vote does not matter. That is how they win. That is how they get to keep making decisions that affect your life and the lives of the people you love. That's how the economy will keep getting skewed to the wealthy and well-connected. How our health systems will let more people fall through the cracks. That's how a democracy withers, until it's no democracy at all. And we cannot let that happen.
Why could he not preside like he speaks?
Do not let them take away your power. Do not let them take away your democracy. Make a plan right now for how you are going to get involved and vote. Do it as early as you can and tell your family and friends how they can vote too. Do what Americans have done for over 2 centuries when faced with even tougher times than this. All those quiet heroes who found the courage to keep marching, keep pushing in the face of hardship and injustice. Last month, we lost a giant of American democracy in John Lewis.
There you go.
So I sat down with John and a few remaining leaders of the early civil rights movement. One of them told me he never imagined he'd walk into the White House and see a president who looked like his grandson. And then he told me that he had looked it up. And it turned out that on the very day that I was born, he was marching into a jail cell, trying to end Jim Crow segregation in the South. What we do echoes through generations. Whatever our backgrounds, we are all the children of Americans who fought the good fight. Great-grandparents working in fire traps and sweatshops without rights or representation. Farmers losing their dreams to dust. Irish and Italians and Asians and Latinos told, go back where you come from. Jews and Catholics, Muslims and Sikhs made to feel suspect for the way they worshiped. Black Americans chained and whipped and hanged, spit on for trying to sit at lunch counters, beaten for trying to vote.
Try to get into these deep feelings now. Racial division.
Had a right to believe that this democracy did not work and could not work. It was those Americans, our ancestors. They were on the receiving end of a democracy that had fallen short all their lives. They knew how far the daily reality of America strayed from the myth. And yet, instead of giving up, they joined together. And they said, somehow, some way, we are going to make this work. We are going to bring those words in our founding documents to life. I have seen that same spirit rising these past few years. Folks of every age and background who packed city centers and airports and rural roads so that families wouldn't be separated, so that another classroom wouldn't get shot up, so that our kids won't grow up on an uninhabitable planet. Americans of all races joining together to declare, in the face of injustice and brutality at the hands of the state, that Black Lives Matter. No more, but no less. So that no child in this country feels the continuing sting of racism. To the young people who led us this summer, telling us we need to be better, in so many ways, you are this country's dreams fulfilled. Earlier generations had to be persuaded that everyone has equal worth. For you, it's a given, a conviction. And what I want you to know is that for all its messiness and frustrations, your system of self-government can be harnessed to help you realize those convictions for all of us. You can give our democracy new meaning. You can take it to a better place. You're the missing ingredient. The ones who will decide whether or not America becomes the country that fully lives up to its creed. That work will continue long after this election. But any chance of success depends entirely on the outcome of this election.
Oh, that's so close.
I know.
Gosh.
If that's what it takes for them to win. So we have to get busy building it up by pouring all our efforts into these 76 days. And by voting like never before for Joe and Kamala and candidates up and down the ticket, so that we leave no doubt about what this country
As soon as they stop tearing shit up.
stands for today and for our days to come. Stay safe. God bless.
Barack Obama setting the stage.
Boy, does he use those dramatic pauses.
Yeah, he's nice with them too.
He talked about
It just ended up pushing it.
be a better president. He took his shots at Donald Trump, but mostly this was a speech about democracy.
And what a setting in Philadelphia, the city of our founding, the 1776 Declaration of Independence, the museum that holds those documents. There he was saying in the starkest terms, do not let them
Hold on
take
1 second.
away your
Come on,
democracy.
man.
So President Obama giving about 15 minutes of his
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Mark, Zach, the other people that have joined in for the show. I won't keep us long. Any last thoughts, Glenn?
Hey, thanks everybody for hanging in there with us tonight, guys. I know DNC was a little long-winded, but we kind of expected that. They had a lot of speakers on the docket, and of course, we're gonna have fun with it. And for the record, guys, just so we're playing bingo with this DNC thing and having fun with it. And we're pretty much bashing the DNC, and we're not really bashing, but Kenny's having fun right now. You know what I'm saying? So, in all fairness, when the Republicans go on their little campaign trail, we're going to do the same thing. So, and I'll make up those bingo cards, and we'll have a field day.
There we go. And
That's it.
I thought Biden was speaking tonight, but maybe he's speaking late. But I was a come on manna, or I would have had bingo, and I was a fair, which I can't. I'm sure at some point they said fair, but I must have missed it.
I was listening hard because like I'm like all I needed to get was come on, man, and fair share, or just fair share. Then I could have got the diagonal.
Right. Yep. So I appreciate everybody coming out. And again, I tried to be, try to give fair assessment as I could. And we appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you.
Da 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 da